This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. I want to say thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listener today. And remember, wherever you download your podcast, just make sure we are free and available. And you make sure you leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that for you in advance. And as we mentioned yesterday, Locked On Sports Atlanta is now on Roku and Amazon Fire. So, hey, if you're sitting at home and you're watching your TV and you don't feel like turning on your phone, hey, go ahead and download those apps and pull us up, because we love pulling up on you each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. But T, when I tell you Kyle Wright was just what the doctor ordered last night, and Kyle Pitts will be targeted more. We'll tell you exactly how that's going to go down. And last but not least, and for the culture, Chris Lindstrom out here just spreading all the love. And Prime dropping some good knowledge once again. We'll talk about all that. But before we get there, we have to talk about the Braves. They get the win 5-1 last night, T. And I think it's safe to say that Dansby Swanson was leading the way 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. Hey, you know, this man is just in a contract year, right? I think we come to expect him in these certain situations.
Right. And it's so good to see him get back to doing Kyle Wright kind of things, right?
Right.
And one of the things I love that Brian Snicker said post game, and I have to agree, is even when he got into a little bit of trouble early, he settled down so quickly. And that just goes to the maturity factor, right? He got his extra day because he was dealing with a little bit of arm fatigue. Thank goodness it wasn't as bad as it was the last time around. So it only took one day. Well, would we not say that that day was worth it? Absolutely, we would say that the day was worth it. And then, like you said, just getting such a great, we still didn't have bats that were really hot last night. They were still mostly quiet, but we got just enough from Michael Harris II and just enough from Dansby to be able to walk away with that win on a night where, as we like to troll and be petty here and remind you that the folks out in Queens didn't do what they were supposed to do. We're talking about those Mets that thank you so much for Metting. And thank you so much for the guys on the south side of Chicago, or wherever the heck you are in Chicago, for doing your job. I forget which train I took.
The good guys, yeah.
I don't offend anybody. In the shy, thank you for doing your job and beating them. So now it's half a game, and we're starting to have that conversation again.
Yeah, it just feels so good to be able to talk about a team that plays out of New York. You know, the Metropolitans, as I'm going to refer to them, as I change the tone of my voice, because as you know, this is my petty voice. And I absolutely love the fact that the Mets are finally starting to Met. And we've pointed this out throughout the season. You know, we got a little scared because, you know, like, hey, you know, those guys were playing really well. And, you know, Jake DeGrom and, you know, Max Scherzer. And guess who was on the mound yesterday when the Mets met it? Jacob DeGrom. So he's a part of the family now with those New York people. And he's starting to fall into those things. And obviously he was a little disappointed. You know, that, you know, he's used to putting up zeros, as he said. And I think that's something that, you know, that we definitely want to keep an eye on as we get closer to the end of the season. Because if Jacob DeGrom and Max Scherzer aren't doing what they're supposed to do for that team, they're very beatable. I just say that to you. And I think that those are some of the things that we're going to definitely keep an eye on. But, you know, Kyle Wright got his 18th win. Mm-hmm. He's 2 games away from a 20-game winner. You know, those, and this is like something that I really feel like, you know, we talked about yesterday on the show, and as far as how we want to be able to see him come out and have a good outing, given what he showed us against the Oakland A's, and for him to come out and have the outing like he did. Like you said, he had bases loaded in the second inning, got out of that, and I think that it was just a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah. And when you think about the fact that we have less than 20 games left in this season, and you look at what Kyle Wright and Max Fried have been doing of late, yes, Spencer Strider had a little dust up in game 1, but still pretty solid along the way, right? I'm looking at the Braves bullpen, comparing it to the Mets bullpen, and yeah, we've got one trending up and one at a at their best, they're stabilized, but really they're kind of trending down. So yeah, when we talk about Kyle Wright, you want to know, you look at him, 18 wins, and you're thinking to yourself, is he going to get to the 20 wins, right? But then you think about the fact that there has not been literally a Brave pitcher to win 18 or more games, and that was 21 victories, by the way, back in '03, and that was Russ Ortiz. And so you ask yourself, is
Ooh.
he going to get there or not? Well, go to betonline.net and maybe they'll give you the information that you need in order to figure out whether or not that's a bet that you should make. Also, found this interesting stat. The Detroit Lions are underdogs, had been in 24 straight games now. They are
Ooh.
finally favored to win a game this Sunday against the Washington Commanders. So that might be a good game for you to take a chance on and bet on. And betonline.net will give you all the guidance that you need to know exactly what to do and how to make that bet. Whether it's NFL, NBA, or Major League Baseball, we just hit NFL and MLB. So, hey, we might as well hit NBA or even WNBA. Will the Aces pull it off in 3 games, or will the Sun actually take them to 5? You want to know that information? You go to a site like betonline.net. Listen to their podcasts, look and see what they're telling you to do if you are a novice bettor or even if you're an experienced one. Or if you want to follow golf when it's in season, MMA, or any other niche sport. They've got information on that too. So again, go to betonline.net for all the information that you need about betting because that is where the game starts.
It's definitely started. Guess who else has gotten started and getting on a roll and starting to do his thing? Ozzie Albies, T. 5 for 5, and also with a walk-off home run to put the cherry on top. Oh, my goodness. That was the first time that somebody has done that for the Gwinnett Stripers since Orlando Arcia, and that was last year, T. So that actually a cool thing to see. Ozzie Albies starting to get healthy. And one thing is that just from a 30,000-foot view, when you take a look at this Brave squad, you really starting to think that they are starting to get on a. Not only starting to get on the roll, stopping the 4 game or potentially a 4 game losing streak, but they're starting to get healthy. And they're start having some bodies come back that can be major contributors once the playoffs get rolling.
Exactly. And you look at, again, trending up and trending down because you're looking at those key positions on the mound and at the plate. So again, we talked about what it looks like in terms of Braves versus Mets. Now we're talking about what it's looking like at the plate and even in the outfield, right? Because that's going to give Brian Snicker a little bit more leverage when you think about Ozzie Albies slowly but surely creeping back, and the fact that he is now hitting 348 in AAA. Man, just the thought of being on the cusp of getting him back to full strength should be something that should excite Braves country, especially as you go into these last 18 games. Hopefully, they'll be able to get it done at the end of the night because, boy, I tell you, what if the Mets met again? What if the Braves brave again in a good way? Yeah, now we're talking. Now it's heating back up again. And one of the things I love as well about this is we don't have to sit very long, even though that 3 game losing streak felt like forever. But we really
Right.
don't have to sit very long until somebody or somebody's step up for the Braves to get things back on track. And so this was that situation. They were not trying to make this the longest losing streak of the entire season. They kind of saw what was at stake and said, hey, these Mets are matting. They're playing and ending their game a little bit earlier. So we kind of already know what the opportunity is for us, and just good to see them take advantage of it.
Yes, and one more quick little blurb about the Braves. Reading David O'Brien is probably, man, outside of our own guy Grant McCauley. When it comes to the Braves, he's my go-to as well.
Yeah.
Now, I saw a little blurb, in a little story. Now he said that Vaughn Grissom has been taking some fly balls out of their field. So all these things are starting to really come together. Like, okay, how can we keep this young pup? He got a day off yesterday. Gave him a little rest. First time he's actually haven't taken the day off since he's been up from Double A.
Yeah.
Now, and we saw what Eddie Rosario did last night, and we know what Marcelo Ozuna capabilities aren't are not. Yes, out in left field. So I think that hey, why not get a young pup a run out there once Ozzie Albies come back and get his feet up under him, and because you don't want to take a guy like that's bat away because the patience that he's shown since he's been up to you, I think that This is something that, we definitely you don't want to have him sitting out, and not being able to contribute, because he's a special talent. Another special talent that the Braves have in that young, what is it, rookie corner? I think they're calling it in the clubhouse. So I think this is something that we're definitely going to keep an eye on. Speaking of rookies, or young players, Kyle Pitts is a guy that, he didn't get any targets in the red zone on Sunday. And, people was kind of asking questions and about, all right, dude, number 4 overall pick. Why aren't y'all using this dude? We'll talk about next how Arthur Smith is going to get him more targets. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta.